Hey y'all, so this is Sherelle Martin with Nitram Financial Solutions, where we teach bookkeeping without boundaries. So I wanted to come on here today and kind of do a quick chat and a pulse check for those of you who are like me. I recently discovered that I am an empath. So what that means is that I harness the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions of my clients and the things that are going to, and I hold that probably way longer than I should for my own benefit. So things that happen as a result of that is like I'm constantly making excuses for clients and why they aren't doing the things that we need them to do to make the services that we provide easier, simpler, efficient. I'm all about simplicity. I'm all about efficiency. There's a running joke that as much as I hate redundancy, I do bookkeeping and bookkeeping is redundant. So, but the thing is that we get, probably more times than not, I hold on to the things that the clients, emotional things and baggage that they give to me. And as a result, it makes my life miserable. It makes me unhappy. It makes me frustrated. And so I wanted to give you the tip of, as you're growing your career and moving on down the path, not to be like me. And if you are an empath, and these are some traits that you think you also have, I wanted to give you kind of some tips on how to protect your peace and how to protect your space. So the first tip that I wanted to give you is to create boundaries. And this is really, really big for me. I didn't do it in the beginning of my business. And once I learned how to do it and how to do it effectively, I live and breathe about boundaries because I am the person who will go above and beyond and do all the things, whether or not they're covered in services or whether because I just want to be nice and help the people out because I'm all for helping the people, right? I tend to allow things to bleed into my life and my space and my mental. And so I created boundaries to help protect that. So some of those types of boundaries are like one of my biggest boundaries, best decision I ever made was that on my calendar, everything goes on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to be there. It's just make believe if it's not on the calendar. So one of the things that I did was I decided a couple of years ago that I would only do meetings on 2 days a week, right? Because everybody wants to have a meeting any and every day. People are just throwing stuff at you about calendar invites, quick chats, all the things. And I was getting behind on work because I didn't have the time to do the work, or I would work late at night because all during the day I'm in meetings. So I decided that Mondays and Wednesdays were client work day. Mondays and Tuesdays are client work day. Wednesdays and Thursdays are meetings and phone calls days. And then Friday is kind of catch up day and marketing day. Every now and again, some ad hoc. And I do a little consulting on Fridays for another organization. And so whenever I can control my calendar and I can send the invite, I send out my calendar link. Always. The only time that I have calls that are not on those days is when they're dictated by a major corporation. I'm talking like Fortune 500 level, like we're talking, right? I don't have as much control over that, but I try to control it as much as possible. If they reach out to me first and say, hey, let's schedule a call, I give them my Wednesdays and Thursdays. But if they are doing like a mass call for all the accountants, I don't really have control over that, right? And so the control that I have is, do I have time in my schedule to be able to attend? Can I attend and still work on the side and kind of just listen in? I make those decisions. So I still have some boundaries around it, but it's not the control of picking when the meeting can be, if that makes sense. But that's like my favorite, best tip that boundary that I've ever put in place, because I had always known and heard about people, saying that they would block certain times of the day. And I did that for years. It was like, oh, well, we only do calls you know, in the mornings or in the afternoons, but it was still something every single day, and it was so much. And then I was like, I can't get any work done because I'm always in meetings, and I don't want to work late in the evenings, and it's not fair to my family for me to work late in the evenings. So I was like, you know what, let's try this. Someone posted it, I don't remember who it was, but someone posted that they only did calls certain days in the week, and I was like, you don't say, do you? So that's what we did. So now I only do calls on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Now, Wednesdays and Thursdays are heavy days, right? And I only do them in the afternoon. I'm still transitioning some of the morning ones that are preset to the afternoon, but I only do them in the afternoon. And that was some advice given to me by a good friend of mine who also does leadership coaching. And the tip that she gave me was, I was telling her how, like, I am primed first thing in the morning, like I am revved up, ready to go, but in the afternoon I'm dragging. So she recommended to put my meetings in the afternoon to keep me up and awake. Bingo, that worked. So now not only do I do meetings on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I try to put them all in the afternoon. Now, if my afternoon is booked, I will put some in the morning as well to balance the day out. But if they're all in the afternoon, that's all I got. That's all I got. And so having boundaries helps protect your space from allowing people to bleed into your personal time, your whatever time that you have designated for other things. The second tip is to hold them accountable. So recently I just realized that I have a couple of clients who aren't as responsive as I would like them to be. That's saying it nicely. As a result, it creates more frustration for me because, one, we can't get what we're getting done. Like, I can't close the books, I can't give you the financials, and those are what we agreed upon in your agreement. Two, my team is consistently asking me, like, did you hear back from them? Did you hear back from them? Did you got the documents? Can you log in? All the things. And I can't because I didn't hear back from them, right? And so with this one particular client, this is like the third time. It would be months before they respond to me. And as a result, we would have to go back and backlog and do all the things that we couldn't do before because we didn't have all the things that we needed. And I do charge a rework fee for that. If we have to go back more than 60 days, they have to pay extra for that. But it's not even about the money, right? And some people will be like, oh, well, that's easy money. You just keep working, they keep paying. It's not about the money. Like, I'm not here just to make the money without providing the service. Like, my whole intent, I invested in my clients. That's another thing I'm very much vested in my clients' success. Like, I want them to succeed. I want them to change the bad habits and do the things the right way so that they can become successful. But when they hinder me, it causes me to feel frustration and anguish, and that's not my business. Like, that's not my business is Nitram Financial Solutions, not ABC Company. So I have to hold them accountable by consistently saying, these are our processes that you've agreed to. Like we've told you up front, we work through this portal. Please log into the portal to answer the questions, please. Or even sometimes I send separate emails outside of the portal, which is against one of my boundaries, but that's another thing, right? I'm trying to help facilitate the process, right? That's part of the empath in me, trying to appease to them versus having them conform to me. And then as a result, I'm frustrated overall because not only are they not responding to the questions in the portal, the questions from the bookkeeper, they're now not responding to the questions from me. And so that has created some frustration. And in one particular instance, I could kind of go around and circumvent the system, but why? Right? They're not kids. They're grown adults, as one of my friends reminds me. They are adults. So they need to be treated accordingly. They need to be held accountable to do the things that they need to do. Log in and update your bank feed. That's all I ask, is for you to update the password. I think it's a simple task. I could go around it, use our login, download the transactions, upload them myself, but then when they finally do go in and do it, it's going to create duplicates, and that's going to be more work for us. So to eliminate that, we need to hold them accountable. So I charge you to have boundaries and hold them accountable for the things that they are supposed to do, that they have agreed that they would do. Protect your peace. And then the third tip is know when to walk away. So sometimes we can put our boundaries in place. we can hold them accountable, but they consistently do these things. And listen, this is not a rant. This is not me trying to badmouth clients in a subliminal way. I'm just trying to share the information to help other bookkeepers who are in the same space, or new bookkeepers coming into space, and they're gonna walk in and be like, whoa, what just happened? So it's not about bad mouthing them, it's about holding them accountable, right? And so it gets to a point where you have to decide, is this client worth it? Like I said before in the previous person I was talking about, it's not about the money. Like, I want them to be successful, but I can't want it more than them. You can't want it more than them. And so when it gets to the point where I feel like I am treating their business as if it's my business, I'm caring about it more than my business and what I and my boundaries and my peace of mind, then it's time to reevaluate, give them an opportunity to correct, and if not, walk away. And there is an instance where a client, it's 3 times it happened. 3 times. I knew better. I should have just walked away, but I didn't, because I wanted to help. I wanted to help. So we must disengage. I got a whole presentation on that too, how to disengage with grace, so that you don't look like you being something and you're not necessarily blaming them either, right? And so that's a whole separate thing. Somewhere on here you might can find the video where I might post it one day. But know when to walk away and know when to say, like, we're just not a good fit, and that's okay that we're not a good fit. And so my 3 tips for you to, when working with clients who are not being compliant with you and making you feel like you are losing your mind, create boundaries, hold them accountable, and then know when to walk away. So those are your 3 tips for today, and I will see you next time on how to do bookkeeping without boundaries.